Chelsea face Man United in the big game of the weekend, but who will show the most desire?
The bridge is braced for one more edition of this timeless North-South feud.
It's a game which rarely passes without incident.
Like the blue touch paper and stand well back. Two of the Premier League's premium heavyweights.
Chelsea against Manchester United.
Gloves off.
Chelsea against Manchester United, a battle of the giants. Manchester United, of course, the most successful Premier League side with 13 title wins. However, the last of them was in 2013. And Chelsea, they actually won the title a couple of years ago, but they're second on the list with 5 Premier League title wins. It just seems like it's been a longer time than that for Chelsea. It feels like they've been through a lot of change since their last title win under Antonio Conte.
Yeah, it has. We saw with all the change what Chelsea was having with the different managers, and it just didn't seem as, I don't know, as consistent as because we saw with Alex Ferguson. It was there, but then it was a different manager here, it was a different manager there, and so it doesn't seem as consistent. But they still go down as one of the great teams. But this fixture between now with Solskjaer and Frank Lampard. It's a very interesting one with both of the teams and where they are at this particular time. Yeah,
especially at this particular time, because at the start of the season they faced each other on the opening day. Are they where we thought they would be at this stage of the season?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Obviously, the change of managers, and they both got a relatively young squad. Both played reasonably well all season.
Nicest man in football. So there's a lot of goodwill for N'Golo Kante. What needs to happen for him to get back to the top form that we've seen him in? Does he need to move further back again, do you think?
Well, that's where we all recognise him as the world-class player that he is. And we saw in some of the clips him getting forward and scoring goals, of course, because he's got that ability. But for somebody who played that role, the only person I've seen do it like he did was Makelele. He named the role after Makelele, but he was literally unstoppable in that position. And it's a position where you look at Chelsea with the amount of moving around of centre halves that they've got, with the goalkeeper who's now being dropped and everything. You'd have thought that they wanted one solid thing that they can depend on there, but they've not put him back there since the Sarri days.
Yeah, it feels as though when Sarri was there, he was blamed for putting him in that position. Yeah. Now Frank Lampard's there and he's persisted with him. They're clearly seeing something about him in that position that maybe we're not as observers.
Yeah, I'm with Wright. I think he was the best defensive midfielder in the world for a good couple of seasons. You know, he did play as a centre half myself. You know, watching him play, the amount of work he used to do for the centre half, that number 10 role that I mentioned. You know, in the holes where the centre halves don't know whether to mark him or the midfielders. He'd take care of that job on his own. So obviously he's gone forward and done well because, like Wright says, his ability is unquestioned. But for me, he's got to play as a sitting midfielder.
Absolutely.
But will we see him do that, do you think?
It doesn't look like it, does it? I mean, Lampard seems to have his kind of way of playing and he's not going to change it. The one thing when he's not playing defensive midfield, it liberates him for those runs forward, which is something different to his game. But that seems to be with a few rationale for it.
Yeah, but then you look at it, if that's the case, you'll be expecting what he gives as the defensive holding midfielder, this world-class performance on a weekly basis. If he's not able to replicate the same kind of form going forward to support forwards and link play and assist, why would you persist? Because then you play him in the world-class position that he can play in.
When he plays in that defensive midfield, as you said, it feels like he does the job of 3 players?
Exactly.
Yeah. I think you're getting less out of Kante playing him forward than you are as a defensive midfielder. Like I said, for me, he was and probably is still the best DMF in.
He just stamped stuff out, James. It's just like you think, well, normally that would have been a goal or that would have been a chance on goal. He stops that, so he stops more chances on your goal.
The amount of balls he used to say the balls into the centre forward, he'd turn around and take it off the centre forward. It was easy to. I probably could have played centre half.
Well, like you say, it's a grown-up role in that team of really young players. And as you alluded to earlier, James, Chelsea only have the second youngest starting 11 in the Premier League this season. It's Manchester United who have the youngest. So when we look at the job that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing, should we be paying more attention to the fact that they are such a young team?
I'm not so sure.
I'd agree, yeah.
It's Manchester United. I think everyone agrees that they should be doing better than where they are and what they're doing. But, he's obviously trying something, Ollie. He's For me, you know, I think they should have gone hard.
All due respect to what Solskjaer's trying to do.
I was talking to someone near the club as well, saying an issue there as well is it feels like somebody's like playing young players for the sake of it and also because they have to, rather than having a set team with pros and young players coming in as part of a natural progression.
Yeah.
I mean, Dan James being a class, he suddenly signed from Swansea and suddenly there's this massive responsibility on him and the team.
Yeah.
Dan James, for example, like you say it perfectly, he wouldn't have dreamt of playing this many games for Manchester United this season, but like you say, I don't know if it's necessity that they've had to play him or he's showing stuff in training, but I think if you ask Dan James himself, he can't believe he's played, you know, probably every game this season for Manchester United.
Yeah, but the signings that he's brought in, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, on his watch, and I know Manchester United have spent an awful lot of money, have been Harry Maguire, who at 26 for a centre-half is not an ageing player or an experience in terms of internationals, definitely. But then you've got Dan James, as we talked about. Aaron.
When you watch his confidence, you know, he's got 3 players up against him. So you're hoping that he's going to be in that kind of shape, because where he's been playing, you know, I'm not sure he's going to be as fit as maybe he needs to be, and probably that was why he's had to get himself even fitter. But you find him in this kind of position. He's got the capability of stretching teams. You want to see that from Man United, from the centre forward, holding the play up, bringing other players in, and hopefully that was his best return for Watford. And you're just hoping that he can find that form. You know, everybody's talking about, oh, why have they gone for him? I'm delighted that they've given him the chance. Yeah. And it's the kind of chance that he hopefully can rise to, because then people will see, yeah, he's still got a lot to offer. I'm hoping that he can be a success.
How hard is he to play against at his best? There was a familiar face in there, James.
On the clip, yeah, he was tough. He used to square you up, and you know, he spoke about him a lot before this game, because, like he says, he was on fire in this spell, and he had that shot. It was one of the best I've played against. Yeah. And like you say, he's gone to a league where it's not as intense as the Premier League, and he's been away 3-4 years now. So it'd be interesting to see if he comes back. But there's no doubt, and if he's fully fit and sharp, you know, he can have an effect for Man United.
Can we just make it clear that it wasn't James, the defender, who fell on the floor? James was the further.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that's deflected on me and gone over the goalkeeper.
Just in case people think that was you, Jimbo.
But look, he's been away for a few years, and obviously he's been playing in China, which is why he's been training on his own. I think he's due to meet up with the rest of the squad today. So it's going to take a little while for him to get into the rhythm of how Manchester United play. Is it hard to go in as a striker cold into a new set of teammates?
Yes, it is. What you ideally hope for is an early chance. You can take it, because that takes a lot of pressure off of you. But then you've got to also add into the fact that, you know, where he's coming from. You know, he hasn't been in the Premier League for a while, and it's Manchester United. The whole world will be watching. You know, it's a lot of pressure. So this is where you're hoping that he can come in, get some chances, nick a couple of chances, and then that will then give him the time to get himself up to speed, because the goals when you're a striker give you time, the fans will give you a little bit more leeway. So the longer you go where you're not scoring kills, the more it starts to get difficult.
He's come in at the end of the January transfer window on a free transfer. He's a player that says he's big Manchester United fan, and there's been criticism of some of the big money signings coming in just for the paycheck from Manchester United supporters. But is he a player that has to do well at Manchester United, or is he a no-risk gamble?
I think there's a bit of no risk about it. The only issue for United is that it just if he doesn't do well, it will reflect even worse on their whole recruitment policy and how they let it get to this. I mean, we were talking beforehand, on that transfer deadline day, the amount of different strikers I heard United were going for, you know, like even taking punts at Pukki at Norwich, Danny Ings. I think there was about 7 or 8.
Glenn Murray.
Yeah. So if he doesn't do well, or there's no impact, then it will reflect on that. But in the sense of him signing on his own merits, it's no risk. And beyond anything else, it's actually quite a nice story that he's someone who so wanted to play for United and so dreamed of it, kind of gets his chance.
It's amazing when you get signed for Man United, you become a Manchester United fan. No, I'm sure you would have been a Chelsea fan if you signed for Chelsea.
To be fair, I think there might be evidence, but it is amazing how many times that happens. Suddenly there's pictures of them emerging with the duvet and everything, pictures of players on their walls. In terms of a lot of the signings that they've brought in Manchester United, they're expected to come and they're expected to hit the ground running. But in someone like Fred, have we seen a slow developer who might be starting to show signs of being the player that they hoped they'd bought?
Yeah, because when you look at Fred and what he does for Manchester United, we're not talking about a midfielder who's getting forward and scoring loads of goals. But in respects of keeping the play going and breaking up play and getting involved like that, yes, he's somebody that the way it started for him, it didn't start great. And this is what I'm saying. When you go to a club like Man United, any big club like that, for the monies that he came in at the time, 50-odd million, you're instantly under pressure. And when you come in and you're not overwhelming, and you're going to get stick. And I think that he hasn't had the kind of support in respects of him playing the way he plays with the strongest team around him. He's had to come in and fill in at different stages of league.
He had a few things going against him. Then he came into, it was just for Mourinho's last season. It was a very toxic atmosphere anyway, with Mourinho really complaining about transfers. And he was the one player they signed for big money that summer.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of pressure on him into dropping into a difficult situation.
And you can see there from the numbers. Apart from anything else, he's just getting more involved, and he's getting more involved further up the pitch in the absence of Paul Pogba.
Yeah, exactly. Paul Pogba being out is a great way of looking at it. Like you said, he probably felt a bit undershadowed by Pogba coming for 50 million. But when players come into Manchester United, I'm not sure they realise sometimes what they're coming into. Like Wright says, if you don't perform straight away at a high level, the fans can get on you. But like you say, he's taken time to settle in, and he looks a different player the second half of the season.
Yeah, it's certainly improved for him. But how much has it improved then overall for Manchester United and for Chelsea ahead of this weekend's fixtures? What are you expecting from the game? Save your predictions for later. Don't go too early then. But in terms of the pattern of the play, the way it sort of pans out, the game itself, without giving us the scoreline.
Well, Chelsea being at home, you'd like to think that they're going to have a go at Man United and put them under pressure, because at the same time, Man United will play, and they do play better, especially when Rashford was playing, but obviously he's not there, better on the break. So it could suit Man United, with Daniel James and if Martial gets himself going a little bit, it could suit them on the break. But I'm expecting Chelsea to have a go at them, because I feel that it's a Man United side that is young, and if you have a go at them, they could maybe, they could crack under that pressure, and it's up to Chelsea to try and keep that pressure going. But Chelsea at home, they've not been able to do that. They've not been able to see teams off.
Yeah. And that's it. And there's been a little bit of bluntness about them recently. I think you'd be a little bit disappointed in the goals coming from wide, in particular with Chelsea. And you were saying earlier about the delivery.
Yeah.
It actually, your instinct would be that it would be a high-scoring game, but actually mightn't be. It might be quite maybe tetchy.
Oh.